WDAM, Laurel, Hattiesburg. You're watching News 7 live at 5. You've got 7 on your side.
Police make 2 arrests in an ongoing investigation. That's our top story at 5. I'm Vanessa Pacheco. Carrie's off tonight and Steve will anchor our 6 o'clock edition. Thank you for joining us. Laurel police continue to investigate what officials call a grand larceny case. Authorities allege 25-year-old Randy Duxworth Jr. and 20-year-old Desmond McCoy stole items from the back of a local business. Authorities say Duxworth and McCoy each face a count of grand larceny. The suspects are awaiting a bond hearing. Well, dozens of volunteer firefighters and their families, mostly from Forest County, gathered this 4th of July for a special memorial event to honor the 19 Arizona firefighters who died battling a wildfire last Sunday. They took part in this memorial walk at the Dixie Community Park. Firefighters from Dixie, McLaurin, Brooklyn, and other departments made 19 laps around the park's walking trail, 1 lap for each firefighter who lost his life. They carried an American flag and a fire hose with the names of all the fallen firefighters written on it.
Every day we have tragic loss in the fire service, but losing 19 at one time was a great loss, and it kind of hits home.
They lost their lives doing what they love doing. It's hard sometimes to see how young some of these people are.
Regardless of where you live, whatever fire department you're in, we're still one big brotherhood. And that's basically what the whole fire department's all about, is one big brotherhood.
Some firefighters from Lamar County also took part in the walk. The muggy weather and chance of rain did not stop the people of Summerall from participating in 4th of July activities. Several people from the town and surrounding areas turned out today for a parade with an auction to follow. The Lions Club in the town of Summerall has hosted a 4th of July parade every year since 1976. The focus of this year's parade highlights one of the man's deeply rooted heritage.
So when the war was over in 1865, Grandpa started looking for that nice tract of land where he camped. And finally in 1874, he ended up here. And he settled and homesteaded some land.
William Carey University President Tommy King was the Grand Marshal in this year's parade. His grandfather, Dan Summerall, was a Union soldier and established the town because he had an interest in southern Mississippi. For much of America, July 4th means a day off from work to commemorate the nation's independence. There will be fireworks show tonight in many cities across the country, but during the day, the manner of celebration was varied.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Statue of Liberty.
It's a greeting spoken for the first time since last October when Superstorm Sandy swamped Liberty Island.
Historic day back on the island.
The statue's home, as well as neighboring Ellis Island, underwent a $59 million cleanup and repair. But amidst ever-present security,
No backpack.
the nation's iconic symbol of freedom once again hosted visitors on America's 237th birthday.
It's a very big part of our history, and we wanted to be here to celebrate it.
And across the country, the celebration was on, from parades in countless cities to an air show spanning the skies of St. Louis. The simplicity of a diaper derby in Pennsylvania to a massive road race in Atlanta, including one runner's tribute to fallen firefighters in Arizona.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
In Philadelphia, there was a reading of the Declaration of Independence in the city where it was adopted, while an adopted homeland became the permanent one for new citizens naturalized in Miami. A similar ceremony half a world away in Afghanistan, naturalization for U.S. soldiers already in service to their country. And even if patriotism was less of a theme for some Independence Day activities,
we fought for it, we defended the country so we could have this day.
The gift of freedom was clearly in evidence.
Elsewhere at 5, Egypt has a new interim president as the country's military is cracking down on leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamist groups. Jennifer Johnson reports.
As celebrations continue in Tahrir Square, the Chief Justice of Egypt's Supreme Constitutional Court, Adli Mansour, is sworn in as interim president. No date has been set for the military to hold new elections, but experts say it needs to be soon.
They're trying to create a level of control that would make it difficult for the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood to incite their followers into creating what will be a very violent kind of reaction.
As violence is being reported throughout the country, the State Department has ordered all non-essential U.S. diplomats and their families to leave. The military has put former President Morsi under house arrest, and 200 other Muslim Brotherhood leaders are on a wanted list.
That is really the $64,000 question. Will the Muslim Brotherhood, which had renounced violence over 2 decades ago, revert to violence because of the coup that they claim occurred against their duly elected president?
The Obama administration is wary of taking sides against a democratically elected leader and the people who ousted him. But some on Capitol Hill say if this were a coup, that could jeopardize $1.5 billion in U.S. aid to Egypt. Senator Patrick Leahy, whose committee oversees the State Department's aid to Egypt, said in a statement, "Our law is clear. U.S. aid is cut off when a democratically elected government is deposed by military coup or decree." Concerned about that happening, the Egyptian military says it's not interested in long-term rule.
And now it's time for our first weather update with Nick.
How's it going today?
Good. Overall, I feel like the weather was great today.
It's been good so far. There are a few scattered showers, but I wouldn't call them storms, and it looks like most of these showers have been pretty brief. So that's been some good news. We'll try to break down the evening forecast for you in a moment.
Okay. Thank you, Nick.
Sure.
Well, a retired Baptist minister has died. Reverend W.A. Fordham was pastor of Petal First Baptist Church from 1961 until his retirement in 1991. After retiring, Reverend Fordham served as interim pastor at several local churches. Visitation has been scheduled for Friday evening from 5 until 8 at Petal First Baptist Church. The funeral will follow Saturday morning at 10, also at the church. Survivors include his wife of 66 years, as well as 2 sons, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Reverend W.A. Fordham was 86 years old.
WDAM values your viewership and the long relationship we've enjoyed here in the Pine Belt. We've stood together during times of celebration and times of tragedy like Hurricane Katrina and our February tornado. We are your first alert for breaking news and severe weather, a responsibility and trust we don't take lightly. Raycom Media, our parent company, is currently negotiating in good faith with Dish Network to reach a signal carriage agreement in the hopes we're not dropped from their service. Call Dish Network and let them know you don't want to lose WDAM from your system service.
A Louisiana teen lost at sea is found alive. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued 16-year-old Amber Burkett and 7 others from an island off Honduras Wednesday after being stranded for 4 days. Andy Cunningham has the emotional first phone call between the teen and her mother.
That's Honduras again.
It's the phone call this mother had been waiting for.
Hello? My baby, you all right?
An emotional reunion between Jackie Capehart and her 16-year-old daughter, Amber Burkett.
You don't know what I've been through the past. I have no idea, my baby, but I'm just so happy you're alive.
The Bridge City teen was among 9 people rescued by the U.S. Coast Guard Wednesday morning on a remote island following 4 days missing off the Honduran coast.
My baby, please. I love you too, my baby, and I'm on my way.
Capehart's tears 1 day ago turned to all smiles Wednesday afternoon as she heard her daughter's voice for the first time since she disappeared.
Obviously, she was upset, Mom, but just to hear her voice, what was that like?
Oh, I can't even put it in words.
The boat Burkett and the 8 others were on wrecked, according to authorities. Found shaken and dehydrated. Remarkably, all of them are expected to be fine.
And now you guys, she's safe, and they have her, and you can't ask for nothing more. So excited!
Surrounded by family here in Louisiana, Capehart said it's the outcome she prayed for but wasn't sure was possible.
It's just awesome. I will see her soon.
Fortunate bunch. Happy 4th of July to you. Temperature today getting up to 89 degrees, a little bit warmer than what we've seen over the past few days. The average high for this time of year, though, is about 92, so we're still running below average. The rain gauge at the Hattiesburg Airport has not picked up any rain yet, but there has been some rain pretty close to parts of Hattiesburg, which we'll look at closer in just a moment. Meanwhile, current conditions at the airport are reading 85 degrees with that temperature. Humidity at 65% makes it feel like 91 right now. More temps for you around the Pine Belt, 85 in Collins, 78 over in Laurel, 76 in Waynesboro. The reason we're seeing that cooler temperature around Laurel, they've been seeing a lot more cloud cover and rain than most of us here in the Pine Belt. Alpha Insurance sky cameras over at Petro Nissan in West Hattiesburg. Some pretty heavy looking clouds there. I don't think we're going to see necessarily rain at that location anytime soon, but there is some showers near the area. And we'll zoom in and get a better look at this. This is the Southern Pine Electric Power radar. You have this rain mostly along the I-59 corridor and mostly on the northern half of the viewing area. But towards the past few hours here, you've gotten a little storm popping up over in George County. Let's zoom in, though, a little tighter, and we'll look at this. You have a little shower developing to the south side of Hattiesburg right now. That may be around about the Dixie community. And then you have more rain stretching through parts of Jones County, and we've seen that rain around parts of Laurel throughout much of the afternoon here. Also some rain over towards Waynesboro, up into parts of Clark County and Jasper County. Bay Springs has a little shower nearby. None of these are what I would call a storm, definitely not a severe storm, but you do have a little bit of lightning that'll try to pop up at times. Let's move down towards the south. I mentioned some rain around parts of George County and Greene County, a little shower south of Leakesville, a little bit of rain around Loosedale over in George County right now. Big picture, what's going on around the southeast? Well, look at this. This just continues to go on and on for folks in the Florida Panhandle. Rain just drenching that section of the country, and you got to feel for anyone that had beach plans this week, because this is the past 48 hours in accumulation for rainfall. We have locations well over 10 inches of rainfall around parts of Panama City back towards Destin. That area has gotten hit the hardest with the rainfall over the past couple of days here. When you pull back a little bit, this kind of explains to you what's going on. Tons of Gulf moisture just being funneled up through parts of the southeast. Meanwhile, we're watching this frontal boundary slowly drag across parts of the Pine Belt, and that's why we're kind of getting our taste of rain here. And I'm really only expecting that to increase as we go through the next few days. Friday afternoon will probably be a lot like today, just maybe a little bit better coverage with the rainfall. Here we are about 1:30. We'll fast forward this clock all the way till about 6 o'clock. You see that rain coverage a little bit better for your Friday, and it's going to be the same story on Saturday and Sunday here in the Pine Belt. We're going to jump ahead to the extended forecast. Around Friday, I'm going to call it about a 50% chance of rain. Saturday, 60%, and Sunday, 60% chance of rain, with that temperature climbing over the next few days. And as you go into the extended forecast, you've got a 50% chance of rain on Monday, 40% on Tuesday, and finally those rain chances come down a little bit during the mid part of your work week next week. Vanessa, back to you.
Americans still love their pickup trucks. That story tops our consumer headlines at 5. USA Today reports pickups dominate the top 10 best-selling vehicles. Leading the way this Independence Day, Ford F-Series pickups. The F-150 saw a sale gain of nearly 24% in June. The Chevrolet Silverado took second place, and Dodge Ram wasn't far behind in 7th. And if you still haven't booked a flight for that summer vacation, cheapair.com says timing is everything. The travel site says the fare difference between the worst day to buy and the best day is $236. Their study last year found the best time to buy domestic plane tickets was 49 days in advance, about 7 weeks. You'll probably pay too much if you book too late, within 2 weeks, or book too early, around 5 months in advance. CheapAir.com found the least expensive days to fly on domestic flights are Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The most expensive days are Fridays and Sundays. If you're cranking up the air conditioning to beat the heat this summer, your energy bill will soar too. USA Today published a few key tips to keep costs down. Planting trees to shade your home or your air conditioner can help cool your home. In fact, the Energy Department says shading your air conditioner can increase the unit's efficiency up to 10%. Replace the air conditioner filter once a month. Dirty filters force systems to work harder. Dressing up your window with shades, solar screens, or films can cut or reflect the heat getting into your home. And depending on where you live, you may be able to get those inexpensive fans. Gas prices have been falling in many parts of the country over the past few weeks. However, CNN reports it might be time to embrace the higher prices again.
Americans are paying more for gas this July 4th compared to last year. The national average for regular gasoline is $3.48 a gallon today compared to $3.34 a gallon a year ago. Prices were unchanged from yesterday, ending a 21-day streak of decreases for the national average. And AAA says prices may be at their summer lows. Prices hit their summer lows right around this time in 2011 and 2012. That means prices may start to climb. Oil prices are already moving higher. They've risen about 16% in the past 2 months and closed above $101 a barrel Wednesday, the highest since April of 2012. Prices are climbing partly because of tensions in Egypt. Egypt is not a big oil producer, but it controls the Suez Canal, a major choke point for the flow of oil coming from the Mideast. If it were to close, the 4 million barrels of oil that flow through the canal would have to take a longer, more expensive route. Closing is unlikely. The Suez Canal stayed open throughout the uprising in 2011 and in fact hasn't closed since 1975. But oil investors still worry that the tensions in Egypt could spill over to other countries in the Mideast. The stronger U.S. economy is also driving prices higher. A better economy means Americans will use more oil. Higher demand means we all fork over a little more at the pump. I'm Allison Cossack in New York.
On Wall Street, the markets were closed on this 4th of July. As always, for stocks of local interest, visit WDAM.com. Sharon's next with Living and Giving. Stay with us. Please share your pictures or videos with us as you enjoy this 4th of July. All you have to do is send them to 7. Just email your images to pics@WDAM.com. And remember, you can also tweet your photos at WDAM by including the hashtag WDAM4th in your photo tweet. Here's a look at what some of you have sent to 7. Coming up at 6 on our NBC channel, much more on how the Pine Belt celebrated the 4th. And at 6:30 on our ABC channel, a look at an annual Independence Day tradition in Ocean Springs. That will do it for us at 5. More news online at WDAM.com, as well as Twitter and our Facebook pages and our iPad and mobile apps.